Can you all hear me okay too? Awesome. Cool. All right. Welcome, everyone. My name is Gabrielle Barrage, and I am the Education Director for the Cleveland International Film Festival, where our mission is to promote artistically and culturally significant film arts through education and exhibition to enrich the life of the community. We do this through our annual film festival, which is scheduled from March 27th through April 3rd of 2025. Through media literacy programs for students in grades 5 through 12, professional development opportunities for educators and filmmakers, and year-round learning experiences for festival audiences. CIFF works collaboratively with our community partners to raise awareness of how film arts deepen understanding of the world and catalyze positive change in our community. We are excited to work with our community partner, Building Heights, a nonprofit that provides educational and vocational programs in the film arts for Cleveland Heights and University Heights students in grades 5 through 12. Building Heights develops and teaches hands-on learning experiences through the art of film. Their programs create opportunities for students to explore their individual and collective creativity, learn foundational skills in all aspects of the film industry while nurturing their imagination, confidence, and maturity. Building Heights produces the Heights Middle School Shorts program, and I'd like to welcome our student filmmakers from that program that are joining us here today. I want to thank you all for taking the time to be here and for sharing your insights into the filmmaking process. I know our audiences are super excited to hear from you, and I look forward to the conversation. But before we get started, I'd like to take a moment to give each of you an opportunity to introduce yourself and share which film you worked on, as well as, a little bit about the film. So let's start with you, Arthur.
Hello, my name is Arthur, and my film was called The Pill, and it was basically about this kid who goes to school, and then one day, like, everyone's acting the same, and I thought of the idea because I was thinking about how hard it is to pay attention in school, and if there was, like, something that, like, would make you pay attention. So that's a bit of what it's about.
Awesome. Thank you. What about you, Pearl?
My name's Pearl. The name of my film is Siobhan in the Bullpen. It's about a girl who doesn't make the Little League baseball team because she's a girl, and her friend is on the team, and he gets hurt, and the coach puts her in and realizes how good of a player she is.
Great. Let's go with Kanasia.
Hello, I'm Kanesia. My film was called Mother. It was basically about a girl who went snooping through her mother's things and found something she would never expect. So she got locked in a room and tried to escape, but she couldn't get out.
Yeah, very interesting film. Parker, go ahead.
My name is Parker, and my movie was called Someone's in the Woods. And it's these four kids that went in the woods, and they don't know that a killer is in the woods, so they, like, all die. And then one of the characters wake up like in a dream, like it's all a dream and stuff. So then it repeats like all over again and stuff. Yeah.
Cool, thank you. And Charlotte.
I'm Charlotte. My movie was called It's Nice to Have a Friend. It was about a girl who loses her friend to cancer, and the whole movie it just goes through their memories together. But at the end of it, she meets a new friend who's having the same struggles as her. So.
Thank you. Well, awesome. One of the things that I really enjoyed about all of your films is that each one had such a unique storyline, and we kind of got to hear the plots from you just now, but also thinking about characters and themes. Can you all share a bit about the process for developing your film? What really inspired you to make the film, and why did you feel it was important to tell this story?
For my film, I just was thinking about how it's hard for a lot of people to pay attention in school. And then I had this idea basically. And so I wanted to kind of explore it, and it turned out to be really cool. And yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
I had the idea for my film because this summer I played on a boys' baseball team, and even though I didn't have the same struggles as my character, I wanted to write about it.
Oh, nice. So it was kind of inspired by a true story. Awesome. What about you, Parker?
Mine was sort of like since like teenagers go out in the woods sometimes
Mhm.
and hang out, but my idea was uh like kind of like Friday the 13th, kind of, not really,
Uh-huh.
but sort of mixed with Final Destination.
Yeah,
But
so very much like a horror genre, thriller type of genres too.
yeah.
Very cool. Kanasia.
I don't really know what inspired me because it was just like I know I like horror movies.
Mhm.
But hey, why not make the girl go missing? Stuff like
Yeah, it had such an interesting twist to it. And Charlotte.
For me, I wanted to make like an emotional story, and it's also like about how hard some people it is to make a friend, and sometimes you can also lose that friend. So,
Yeah, definitely. And your story really came full circle with from the beginning to the end. And I really enjoyed how the film started in one place and ended in that same place. But she was able to learn so much from her friend, which was great. Okay, so when making films, there is a lot that goes into the filmmaking process, as I'm sure you all learned during the Heights Middle School Shorts Camp. Everything from screenwriting to acting and camera angles, lighting, sound design, editing, all of that. So, can you tell us a bit about the production process and one or two key elements that you considered when making your film?
I think what I learned most about the process was like I didn't realize how many angles you have to get
Mhm.
with the camera. So you have to shoot like one scene like so many times just to get like it to look like it does in a movie. And when I was making it, I really like action movies, so I was like I wanted to incorporate a fight scene in it, so I really wanted that to happen, and I was happy when that happened.
Yeah, and that's a whole part of the choreography with the fight scene and everything you had to learn too. That's really great. Go ahead, Pearl.
Um, I think the same thing, like shooting things a bunch of times because whenever I make home movies with like Arthur and my neighbors, and it's always like we do one angle and then we go to the next scene, and I didn't realize how many different angles you have to get. So like similar.
Yeah, and you definitely in your film, I remember there was some really great camera angles, and there was an interesting part where we see the ball flying towards the batter, and so kind of capturing all of that too is pretty exciting. So I'm sure our viewers will be interested in seeing how you all incorporated your camera angles and work. How about you, Parker? What about the production process did you consider when making your film?
Like holding the sound boom, it was kind of, yeah. And like, shooting the same scene over and over again and stuff. But I'm gonna go with, like what Arthur and Pearl said, like shooting different shots of the
Mhm.
same scene.
Yeah,
Stuff.
and getting those camera angles,
Yeah.
which I don't think people realize. Yeah, how many you can spend a whole day filming one scene for sure. Kanasia, what about you and your production process?
um I agree with the camera angles, but also with the many different shots because you have to take multiple different shots of the same exact scene to
Mhm.
make sure you get the perfect one and like different kinds, like different options and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
for me and for my film, mostly like we had to shoot like at many different places, so it took
Mhm.
like basically like more than the whole day. And also like for one of the scenes, we had to use like a camera drone to like zoom out at the end. So but it was fun.
Wow, yeah, definitely. And thinking about all the production locations too and securing those. And I know several of you had multiple locations in your film, so that was really interesting too. And that's great to hear about the drone shot that you did. So, for my role at CIFF, we work with a lot of different filmmakers. And one thing we always hear is about how, like, what the filmmaker learned during the process or about things they might do differently if they were filming it next time, now that they've kind of gone through that experience. So, now that you've gone through the experience of making your films, is there anything you would do differently if you were able to do it over again? And if so, why? And I'll just open it up to anyone.
I think I would map out like the different like how I want it to look more because that saves a lot of time when we're actually filming.
Mhm.
So I would like draw it out exactly where I want the camera to be and how I want to look. So I would do that for longer.
Yeah, that's great. That's a great learning experience. Anyone else have any things they would do differently now that they've gone through the experience?
For
I
me,
oh
oh, sorry, Park.
uh, uh
Um,
oh,
yeah, okay. For me, there was a scene where she tells her friend he has cancer, and they both laugh, which was not supposed to happen. But I think that it could have been a lot more serious, that scene, and I wish I could redo that. That was the most annoying part where I couldn't redo it.
Yeah, that's really interesting. See, I never would have known that if you hadn't shared that insight. Parker, go ahead.
kind of wish I redid like the ending scene and made it like uh kind of like more serious and stuff probably. Yeah.
Okay. Anyone else?
About the film, I don't think I would change anything, but I would change like how I prepared it because we had to do like a mood board and I really didn't get to like finish them. But I would change how I prepared the movie.
Oh, that's interesting. Can you share a bit more about what a mood board is for audience members who don't know?
Oh, it's basically like say your movie's all happy and smile and it's like Christmas time or something, you would want to add like maybe a little bit of Christmas things and like, happy things. But then if your movie's like dark and gloomy, like mine was,
Uh-huh.
you would probably want like more darker stuff, like a darker element of things.
Yeah, absolutely. So all these things go into consideration when you're making films like this. And again, I'll just open us up to everyone. What was the most challenging part of the filmmaking process? And now that you've completed your film, what are you most proud of?
The most hard part was probably writing it because it's hard to come up with ideas for stuff. And I'm proud of, I don't know, I'm proud of pretty much the whole thing. I like the fight scene at the end. That was my favorite part.
Yeah, pretty neat.
Um, I'd say the hardest part about mine was I had a lot of extras for like the baseball scenes. It was just like a little chaotic, but I think in the end it turned out really great. And I loved all the scenes with like just like the baseball scenes, like the action scenes.
Hmm. Yes, that's important, learning to manage your cast and your crew and lots of people that are on set for filmmaking. Charlotte.
Um, for me, probably one of my like favorite parts of the film was basically like I think the actors were had a lot of experience, I think, and they were both very good and they were all of them were good in the roles. But I think some of the hardest parts were definitely like yeah, like change of locations and like there
Mhm.
are certain like silent parts where they just had to act but without lines. So
Yeah, and that's something when you're considering actors and actresses performing in your films, thinking about how they can convey emotion and feeling even without verbally saying anything. That's really key too. Great.
The hardest part for mine was like when we're outside, like hearing like the plane or like people mowing their lawn and stuff. And then my favorite part was probably the whole movie because I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah.
The hardest part for me was, like Arthur said, making the movie and then also scheduling because I was in many other films. And so when my
Mhm.
film was, I was in a different film, so I wasn't really there to like see how it was going on. But it came out really well. It came out exactly how I imagined it. So I love it.
Yeah, and I know you all were, of course, behind the camera in the production process, but also in front of the camera and doing acting and stuff. So that was pretty great to see. What did you prefer, being behind the camera or in front of the camera?
Um, Probably like I feel it depends because for my movie I was the director and screenwriter, but and I was a lot of extras in other movies. And for Parker's, I remember I was put in as a character where my friend was, and she didn't know if she wanted to do it, and she didn't want to do it, so I just stepped in the very first day we were about to film. So, but that was fun too.
Nice.
I'd say
Um, I like them both. I think I would like acting more, but I loved being behind the scenes, especially for my own film. Like
Mhm.
that was the thing I liked about being behind the scenes because I got to like see how like I got to see the whole thing that was my film that I wrote. And then even though I didn't act a ton in the other ones, I liked acting. It was fun.
Yeah.
I like being in both like pro side, but I mostly like being behind the camera because
Uh-huh.
that's what I did for mine. But yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm like you. I would like to be behind the camera because you kind of get to see everything. Kanisha, go ahead.
I would rather be in front of the camera because um I don't know, but I want to be an actress. So being in front of a camera, it's like giving me a lot more experience, and like I really need that so that I could pursue my dream.
Yeah, I noticed you were in a lot of the films, and it was so great to see you acting in all these different storylines. And for me, seeing as many films as I do throughout the year, it's always great seeing the character on screen, but then meeting the actor or actress in real life. So I was really excited to meet you all today. Arthur, do you have a preference behind the scenes or in front of the camera?
I like both, but I hadn't been behind the scenes before, so that was cool because I liked seeing like I wrote it and then at the end seeing the actual thing, and then it was like cool.
Yeah, seeing the final product. That's always so exciting.
Yeah.
Just a couple more questions. We'd love to hear from you. What was the biggest thing you learned about the filmmaking process at the Heights Middle School Shorts Camp? What was your biggest takeaway?
I
Um,
go ahead.
okay. I don't know. Probably just all the work that goes into it. I didn't realize from like writing it to then filming it. It's just a lot of work. But it was cool to see, and I liked doing the work, so it was cool.
Yeah. Yeah, and for our audience, how long did it take you, Arthur, you're saying about how, how much time goes into it. How much long did you have to film these films, from the start to the finish,
Like just the filming or like the whole thing?
the whole process?
Oh, I don't know, a few months probably, but on the whole time we were like preparing mostly. We only
Uh-huh.
filmed for like 2 days, so
Yeah, two
it's all
days of
preparation.
filming. That's amazing. Awesome. Pearl, go ahead.
I was gonna say like a similar thing. Like I don't think a lot of people realize how much stuff you have to do because we started in like April and
Mhm.
April, May, June we did like pre-production stuff and then there was like one day where you actually filmed your film and yeah, so I don't think a lot of people realize how much work you have to do before you end up filming it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm so glad that you shared that.
for me, I think like When you were like when you're writing your script, not only you like include lines, you include like directions, your setting, everything goes into that script. And also like it took like it was pretty long. Like our process, like I remember when we were filming Parker's, it took like longer than the whole day.
Mhm.
And we had also like for my film, like we were in the car a lot, like moving to each location. We even have to like at the very we like filmed a scene that like we filmed the very first one of like the second scene we filmed was the scene that was supposed to be at the end of the film.
Mhm.
But since we were there at the same location, we just might as well have done it. So yeah.
Yeah, you brought up a really good point about sometimes films are filmed out of order, right? So maybe you're filming the ending scene first or second, and then it all gets put together chronologically. But yeah, that's a really important takeaway.
Yeah. Yeah, mine took a kind of a long time, like Charlotte said, but also like doing storyboarding and stuff and like doing different sounds, like where to hold the boom mic.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, and I thought sound was a really important element of each of your films, and hearing the sound as well as the music that I'm sure you all added in post-production, thinking through those elements too. Yeah. Kanisha, go ahead.
Oh, I agree with Charlotte when she said about the script is just more than dialogue because my film was originally going to be no dialogue, but then I ended up adding dialogue, and I feel like when you're doing dialogue, you have to also add like body movements and facial expressions because if you don't, then it's probably not going to come out the way you want it to.
Mhm. Yeah, and all of those elements that you just mentioned, those go straight into if I'm a viewer seeing the film, like, I'm picking up on those things. That helps enhance the storyline if you have those elements too. Great. And my last question, if you were to provide advice for students interested in pursuing filmmaking, what would you share based on your own experience?
I would say like if something like doesn't look right, like fix it. Like you're not it's your film, so just make like it doesn't no one's gonna care how many shoots it takes. That means like they're doing something wrong, like the actors. So like if you want to do it a specific way, then do it a specific way.
I would say like try to be creative, have a good imagination and stuff, and like have a good attitude when you walk in and stuff.
I like that, the positivity, because if you as the director or screenwriter, as you're leading the film, the everyone you're working with takes that from you. So if you come in with a positive mindset and create that encouraging environment, they're all going to feel the same.
I think wait, let me think about it. Let me think.
Sure, we'll come back to you.
Um, I want to say something similar to Charlotte. Like, you can, if you're like directing slash you wrote it, like you need to speak up. Like, if they're doing, if they're filming the scene from like a different angle or something than you want it, you could tell the camera person.
Mhm.
Also, like similar to the explanation I had for the last question, like telling them about how much pre-production you have to do.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, I would probably say like take your time and don't rush it because if you rush it, the film is gonna feel rushed and
Mhm.
I don't think you want your film to feel that way. And yeah.
Yeah, and that's something we call pacing and structure of the film is people can tell if it feels too rushed, and as the viewer you want it to flow correctly, and that really keeps you involved in the storyline too. Arthur, go ahead.
I would say also like don't rush thinking about what you want to do because you don't want to just have one idea and then like be like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore when you're like halfway there because you can't do that. So really think about what you want to do make sure you love it before you start making it.
Yeah, yeah. And just one more thing I want to ask about, because we were talking about editing and post-production and kind of mentioned the music and everything that was involved in your films. And so Heights Middle School Shorts film scores, can anyone share a little bit about that and how you incorporated music into your films?
Um, I don't really think I had music in I don't think I had music in my movie, but if I did, definitely like during the scene where music most of it during the montage parts where they're going through the memories together, they they're not really talking at all.
Mhm.
So definitely adding more maybe sad music or just music to express what's going on would help a lot.
Yeah, definitely, because that really helps contribute to the tone of the film too.
Yeah, I think it's like what emotion is in the film, you do the same like with the music. So if it's like happy, then you do happy music, and if it's sad, you do sad music. And I think we did that a little bit, but it wasn't. I don't think we did it a lot. So that's just I think.
Sure.
When I saw my film, I noticed that um, the music in the parts, like the baseball parts where she was like about to pitch, it like escalated and
Uh-huh.
it like fit really nicely with the plot and what was going on screen.
Yeah.
Mine was like once um once the killer came up, like they started playing like creepy music and stuff, and when like the running scene, it was like uh it was kind of like, yeah, basically the same.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And Parker, I hear, did you make some of the music included in the films?
Oh yeah.
That's pretty neat.
Yeah.
What instruments did you use?
Violin.
Oh, that's amazing. That's really great. Which film can we hear your music in?
I think in mine and Arthur's, I believe.
Awesome. Well, we'll be listening. That's great.
All right.
And Kanasia, I know there's a lot of the suspenseful thriller type films. One thing I really noticed was like music that was incorporated to like really heighten that you're on the edge of your seat because of the music makes you feel that way. Did you notice that too in your films?
Yeah, because I feel like sometimes music signals that something's gonna happen.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. So I really appreciated that and how in each of the films, that was the really important element that was incorporated. Um, well, thank you. This has been awesome. And I was so thrilled to see each of your films. And I just want to congratulate you all. We really look forward to sharing these films with the public. If our viewers are interested in seeing our students' films here, they can do so at the Greater Cleveland Urban Film Festival coming up in September, as well as at the Cleveland International Film Festival during our Film Slam education screenings taking place in March 2025. The films will also be available for streaming online at a later date. And for more information on Building Heights and the Middle School Shorts program, you can visit buildingheights216.org. And for more information on the Cleveland International Film Festival and our education programs, you can visit us at clevelandfilm.org. I want to thank you. I want to thank our students, and thank you for joining us. Okay, so I'm going to end the recording there. Okay, stop recording.